Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeleine and this is Made with Books, and today I'm doing the Jane Austen July tag. This tag was created by Marissa from Blatantly Bookish and Katie from Books and Things, who both hosted Jane Austen July, which is over, so I'm a bit late with the tag. I was tagged by Katie, so thank you so much to Katie for tagging me. And yeah, let's just get straight into the questions, shall we? So question number one is, what is your favorite Jane Austen book? And if you expect me to give an original answer here, I will have to disappoint you. Like most of the other people I've seen doing this video, my favorite Jane Austen book is Pride and Prejudice. I've read all of her novels, I love them all. I have read by now a bunch of her juvenilia and I have read Lady Susan. I think Jane Austen is brilliant. She can hardly do any wrong in my opinion. But Pride and Prejudice in particular is so masterfully told. I love Lizzie. The first time I read this book, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I rooted for certain characters to get together, which you wouldn't root for if you knew what was going to happen. The dialogue, the whole setup of misunderstandings and the resolutions at the end, I think it's just wonderful. I also love the BBC adaptation with Jennifer Ehle and Colin Firth, although you can actually probably hunt me with the Keira Knightley version. I did not like that one at all. Question number two is, who is your favorite Jane Austen protagonist? And I'm actually not too sure about this. The reason is that it has been a long time since I read Anne Elliot and Emma, and I will at least reread one of them next year for Jane Austen July. This year I reread Sense and Sensibility, which was wonderful. And I remember when reading it that I really loved Anne Elliot, so she might be my favorite character, but it has been so long that I wouldn't want to vouch for her. So I'm probably going to say Elizabeth Bennet, because I really love her character. She makes mistakes, but she's smart, she's clever, I just like her. Question number three is, name a book off your shelves that you think Jane would wholeheartedly approve of, and why? I don't know if she would wholeheartedly approve. I don't think I would go this far. I will say though, The World of Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. I've been reading these short stories because it was also Jeeves July. Not all of them, but slowly making my way through. I'm about at the halfway point right now. And I think what Jane Austen would really like in these is the wit and humour, the sometimes ridiculous characters. It makes fun of distant relatives, and this is pretty much about the upper class, and Jane Austen didn't exactly write about working class people either. So I think there's some parallels, and so far she would enjoy it. I think she might not necessarily enjoy Bertie Wooster's sometimes sort of like colloquial slang language, whatever you want to call it. He sort of has these phrases that I don't think she would like, and I also think she might think this a bit too formulaic for her liking, but I think there would be things in here that she would really enjoy. Question number four, name a book off your shelves that you think Jane Austen would hate or would have hated, and why? And I'm gonna go for my own favorite book, which is Wuthering Heights, Emily Brontë. I think that Jane Austen would see the meta of this book is inappropriate, the whole violent emotions, self-destructive behavior. There's no clear moral compass. I wouldn't say that Emily Brontë judges her characters. I mean, she doesn't condone them either, but I also don't think that she really judges Catherine and Heathcliff in the way that Jane Austen probably would have done. And I would argue that Catherine and Heathcliff, the most troublesome characters in here, are also the most fully developed. I also think that Jane Austen probably wouldn't have liked the dialect use in this. She might have liked the nature descriptions, but I don't think that this would have gotten the Jane Austen approval stamp. Correct me if you think otherwise. Question five is, who is your favorite minor Jane Austen character? And I went for characters in Pride and Prejudice, and I really like, as a positive character, I would really like Charlotte Lucas. I think she's clever, I think she's trying to make the best of her situation. She makes decisions that are very different from Lizzie's and decisions that from our modern point we probably wouldn't agree with, but at the time those were quite sensible and understandable. So I think she's an interesting character and I can empathize with her, and she makes the best of her situation with the decisions she makes, I think. I also like Lady Catherine de Bourgh. I think she's hilariously entitled. The expectations she has about everybody paying attention to her and listening to her and obeying her. She's so self-absorbed, and I think she's hilarious in that sense. Question number 6 is, name a book off your shelf that you feel was somehow inspired by Jane Austen's body of work. Now I chose this one. I'm not sure it is a good choice actually, and that is Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. Now, this is a story of an older governess who lands at the wrong door and thus in an unexpected situation gets into this woman's life that is completely different from her own and has all kinds of twists and turns in order to hopefully get to a happy ending for her. I would say that inspired by Jane Austen insofar as this deals with relationship, it deals with marriage, it deals with making good choices in marriage, it deals with men that are a bit rogues or a bit rakish, those that are actually good, and I think maybe a bit more like Jane Austen's Juvenilia, since it's a bit over the top in that sense, I guess. So I think there's some parallels, but I will also say that there are things that are, at least to my knowledge, and I hope this is accurate, that Jane Austen doesn't have any blatant anti-Semitism or sexism in her books, which this does. There's some anti-Semitic comments in here that are really hard to deal with, and yes, you can say they are of their time, but this was published post-World War II as far as I'm aware, so it's a bit hard to swallow. So be aware if you're going into this book. There's also some sexism that doesn't really go down well, and I don't think that Jane Austen would have liked these traits, I hope. I mean, definitely not sexism. I think she was ahead of her time in that sense, whereas Winifred Watson really wasn't. So I think in some senses she drew from Austen, and others she should have but didn't. Question number 7 and the final question is, which Jane Austen character do you simply love to hate? And I have to go either with Lady Susan. If you've read Lady Susan, you know why. It's a short epistolary novel by Jane Austen, and if you haven't read it, I would highly encourage you to pick it up. And it is told in these letters between not only from Lady Susan but from other characters as well. And the way that Lady Susan is just out for herself. She double crosses pretty much everybody. She completely disregards her daughter's feelings. And that is at the same time outrageous but also hilarious, and you kind of love to hate her. And another one, I guess, would be, because I recently reread Sense and Sensibility, would be for me Fanny Dashwood. The way she handles her husband, and I said this in my last video about negotiating him down from helping his sisters financially to basically, you know, sort of waving from the distance. And which is completely, you know, you hate her for it, but you have to admire the way she does it. So that is a character you can love to hate, I think, as well. Now, pretty much everybody that I would tag for this has already done this tag, because Jane Austen July is over and I'm late to the party. I am going to tag only one person, that is Sean from Sean the Book Maniac. If you want to do it, Sean, consider yourself tagged. I know that Sean has read and loved at least 4 Jane Austen novels according to Goodreads, so I think I can tag him for this. Yeah, as I said, pretty much everybody else has done this tag. I'm going to link down below to some other versions of this tag by other booktubers. I'm also going to link down below to a video from Claudia over at Spinster's Library, who has done sort of a best of Jane Austen videos that were filmed throughout Jane Austen July, so check that out. And also ignore what Claudia says to a certain degree, and that you will also check out her videos, because she did a bunch of great Jane Austen July videos as well. And another person she didn't mention is Megan Hannett, who has also done some great Jane Austen July content and apparently is related to Jane Austen. So check out her videos as well. I will link all of these down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys!